What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 14. One away. One away, and it could have been the most clever episode ever. If you made it Episode 13 about Apollo 13, come on, guys. Episode 14, Moonshot. And this was an enjoyable episode overall. I mean, pretty much any episode that starts off with Mick doing the narration. What, you idiots haven't figured this out by now. I love listening to that. It's so funny. It was overall really good. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was all around it had its funny moments. It had its more emotional moments, and it definitely had its more intense moments as well. So we see this is all about the NASA program. After picking up from last week's episode, we saw Eobard Thawne talking to this NASA astronaut. Came to realize this was not Nate's grandfather, which I was like, is that him? I can't really tell. It turns out that apparently he took this guy's place on the Apollo 13 mission. So the team finds Nate's grandfather working for NASA as one of the flight control people. And so they all head up in the Wave Rider to stop Thawne. Ray heads over in his atom suit to stop him. And so they end up on the moon, they land it, and then they find out that apparently the shuttle part of it is heading towards an asteroid field, so they use up all of the power of the Wave Rider to save the lives of the astronauts inside. And so then it's all about getting them back to Earth safe and sound without much power on the Wave Rider, if any. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's very simple in its setup, but what they do with it is very effective. First of all, we have Thawne and Ray kind of working together at this point. And I love what they're doing with his character this season. Because at first, especially in the first season of The Flash, he was a very one-dimensional character. He wanted to kill the Flash. That's all we knew. We knew he hated him. He wanted his speed and all of that stuff. He was very one-dimensional. It didn't really seem like there was anything beyond that. We knew he was very smart, but that's about it. We actually get a little bit. It's not anything like, oh, we're learning more about why he is who he is or anything like that. But for this season, we've learned about I can't remember what it's called now, but the Flash that's trying to get him. I actually, after watching the Flash tonight, seeing Hunter Zolomon in the Speed Force, I'm pretty sure that is Hunter Zolomon now. Watching him after seeing him in that one episode where Eobard Thawne was being chased by him, I'm pretty sure that's him. So that's pretty interesting to see. But anyway, we see that he's very scared because he wants to live. We get to see a little bit more about, deep down, his instincts are very similar to the team's. Like watching him help the team because he wanted to get out alive. Even though obviously he still wants to kill them and he still wants to get the spear and everything. All in all, like, his reasons are not evil per se. He could use this and then all of a sudden, oh, he does exist again, and so now he's not being chased, which means he's alive, which means now he can go do evil things without having to worry about the I don't even know what to call it, the Reaper Flash, I guess, is the best term for it. But just seeing that side of him, seeing him be a lot more just emotional and like, look, I just want to live. I want to help you get out of here to help me as well. Seeing that side of him is very different. I like what they did with that. On top of that, we also get to see Ray and him sort of. I feel like they are a lot more similar than Ray realizes. Just seeing him sort of bond over science stuff. That alone is just like, it's been a while since I've gotten to talk to a fellow scientist. I don't know if maybe that's just playing to his inner scientist and he's trying to play into his emotions to help save him. But it definitely was very interesting to see a different side of Thawne this episode. So I really did enjoy that part of it. I also enjoyed getting to see Nate and his grandfather talk some more. It definitely led to a very emotional scene at the end when his grandfather decided to sacrifice himself to keep the Wave Rider in the right degree angle to get them inside and save everybody else on board. I wasn't really sure. I figured he was probably going to sacrifice himself just because that seemed like where it was all leading to. But just seeing that scene and seeing Nate break down because of it, it was actually pretty touching. And a lot of that had to do with the the relationship that they showed us in this episode, seeing them sort of connect and talk about things, and seeing how his grandfather's like, I can't believe I left my family. If I hadn't, I would have been there for your father, and he would have been a better father to you. And seeing all of that is like, yeah, that kind of sucks. I understand his frustration now, but ultimately he realizes that if not for that, Nate probably most likely would not be here. And even if he was, he would be somebody completely different. So I like that element of it. I like seeing them together, and then seeing that scene at the end just really brought it all home. Even though it was a little bit predictable as far as him sacrificing himself, it still kind of hurt to see Nate so upset by it. So I'm glad that they did that, and I'm glad they did it effectively as well. And then, of course, aside from those two main things about this episode, the rest of it was good. It wasn't anything spectacular. There were some really funny moments. Obviously, the funniest being when Martin decides, oh, the only way to distract people is to sing. I don't know if they're building up for next week's Flash episode because it's a musical. I don't know if that's what they're going for. But it was definitely funny to see Martin Stein, just this guy you never expect to sing, all of a sudden singing. And then after it all, they get told to stop, stop that, and then all of a sudden everybody's doing something else. Nick comes over, you have a nice voice, Professor. It's just like, thank you, Mr. Rory. So all of that was really funny. It was just, I don't know, overall, like this episode, the lighthearted moments definitely got me laughing a bit more. And on top of that, we also have a little bit more character development as far as Rip is concerned. Because I was talking about last week, him returning to the team, Sarah already being the captain of the Wave Rider. That return, I was worried, was going to lead to, okay, he feels like, well, the team doesn't need me anymore. But we kind of see at the end of this episode that Sarah's like, oh, it sounds like you're an outcast. It sounds like you don't have a place to fit in. It sounds like you're a legend. So I'm hoping that maybe this kind of redefines his role in the team. He used to be the one that knew everything, the one that knew what to do in certain situations, but now the team has evolved. So now the team is better than they were before, which means they don't need as much direction from him. So now we can actually see him focusing on himself a bit more, which I think could lead to him doing some pretty badass stuff, because Rip Hunter himself is a badass character. But if he's constantly having to babysit the team, he's having to make sure they're not making mistakes, they're having to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do and guiding them, it's less time for him to focus on himself and what he's doing. And so now that Sarah's got them running like a well-oiled machine, she's the one calling the shots, I think we're going to get to see a little bit more of Rip Hunter and who he is without that leadership quality, without having to be a leader. I'm hoping that's where they go with it. Like I said, I'm still concerned that they're just going to, at the end of this season, say he's off the team or kill him off or something like that. I'd be very disappointed with that just because I think this is a new territory that you can explore with Rip Hunter's character. So please do that. Please don't just kick him off the team. It'd be very, very upsetting. But all in all, I mean, this episode definitely does propel some of the story forward. And I think that's the big thing. We not only are we getting these good moments with Nate and his grandfather, with Ray and Eobard, with Sarah and Hunter and all of these different parts of the team, and just sort of watching the team grow a little bit. But it's moving the story forward. They get the Spear of Destiny, and now they've got 2. The League, I think, still has 2. So it's like, what's going to happen next? Where does this go now? Now that they've got half and half as far as the Spears are concerned, where does this go next? Where does the story go next? Who hits who first? Because we know that the team knows why Eobard Thawne wants a spear. It's to keep himself alive. So if that's the case, then my thought process is, well, they're probably just going to stay away from them and keep the spears hidden somewhere very safe where they won't be able to get it. And in that vein, the League is probably going to do something, or the Legion is going to be doing something to try to cause the Legends to have to come back and stop them from changing the timeline, creating all these aberrations, just to be able to get a chance to get the spears. So I'm very curious to see where this is going. It feels like it's almost going to be a bit of a chess match, where the Legion makes the move and then the Legends have to make their move with also countering. I hope it's going to be a chess match. It feels like that is what it's building towards. Maybe not, but fingers crossed. I really do feel like it's going somewhere very interesting. As far as the Amaya situation, because that is kind of the thing that they left off on in this episode, we saw last episode it was played up very much as a joke, just as far as her and Nate are concerned. Their little romance. Ray was saying you can't do this because she's got to go home to her village. She's got to have a daughter who will then have a granddaughter who is the Vixen we know in Arrow and the Flash. So seeing that played off as a joke where Nate's just like, yeah, I'll tell her tomorrow, and ha ha ha, laugh track plays, and dun 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 dun. That's what it felt like last episode. This one, we definitely get a lot more into the emotional side of it. We see she tells Nate's grandfather about you. If you are not there for your son, then he is the way he is, and that's what creates Nate. So if you go back and change that, that may change Nate, or he may not even be born. So she does that, and it feels like a betrayal to Nate. And so his very next line is talking about, ask Ray about what happened to your village, and tell me you don't want to change history. And so we see at the end she decides to look up what happens and sees the pictures of everything that happened. So I don't know what this means for her. I don't know if this changes her history at all or if she wants to change history at all. But I am a little bit concerned by it. So we'll see where this is going. It feels like this also will be interesting to see. So they have a few different running storylines, just kind of all feel like they're converging towards one end, where at the end of the season we're going to find out about the Sphere of Destiny, what's going to happen to it, what's going to happen to the Legion and the Legends. I hope it leads to something very interesting that will build into season 3, but maybe not. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm really looking forward to see what they've got planned. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe to future Legends of Tomorrow, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.